From the edge of the grassland, the wild dog pack quietly forms a living circle. The harder the prey tries to break free, the more the hunters take turns closing the distance, steadily wearing down its strength and control. If another predator appears, the formation tightens even further. Few animals are as intimidating as a group moving with a single shared purpose. So what happens when the entire wild dog pack has already learned the rhythm of its target's run? The wildebeest is one of Africa's most iconic hoofed animals. Each year, massive herds travel more than 1,200 miles in search of fresh grass and new water sources. A powerful frame, raised shoulders, curved hook-like horns, and heavy kicks make them difficult targets to approach. Even lions and leopards can hesitate when confronted by such sudden defensive reactions. But African wild dogs do not depend on individual strength. The pack can cover long distances across the grasslands, maintaining a relentless pace as it closes in on grazing wildebeest. Rather than charging directly into the center, they spread out along both flanks, applying pressure to the edges of the herd and gradually disrupting its movement. In the confusion, a weaker or slower individual may become separated from the protection of the group. Once the target is isolated, the wild dogs begin taking turns in the pursuit. One moves ahead to force a change in direction, while another maintains pressure from behind. No single moment determines the outcome. With deep chests, large lungs, and legs built for endurance, they transform stamina into a quiet advantage. The wildebeest remains powerful, but isolation makes every turn more demanding and every burst of speed more costly. For wild dogs, success is built on discipline, endurance, and precise coordination. Across Africa's grasslands and stretches of bushland, impalas, bushbucks, and waterbucks live within a demanding cycle of predation. They are fast, alert, and often capable of making predators lose momentum after a sudden burst of speed. But for African wild dogs, these medium-sized antelopes remain suitable targets. They provide enough energy to support the pack while presenting less risk than larger hoofed animals. When several impalas appear near the edge of a herd, the hunt begins. The more experienced wild dogs widen the formation. Moving under the direction of the dominant pair, they do not depend on a single fortunate charge. Instead, they turn the grassland into a test of endurance and discipline. Under pressure, an impala can accelerate to around 65 miles per hour in an effort to escape. The wild dogs do not rush to spend all of their energy at once. They maintain speeds close to 45 miles per hour over long distances, rotating positions at the front and forcing the target to change direction repeatedly. If the impala heads toward a slope or shallow water to disrupt the rhythm of the chase, the pack still divides its path, limits escape routes, and maintains pressure from multiple sides. Unlike the more compact impala, A water buck can weigh around 560 pounds and often moves into deep rivers or lakes to hold its ground. At that point, the wild dogs cannot close in immediately. They must spread out along the shoreline and wait for the prey to lose confidence near risky water, where hippos or crocodiles can quickly turn the riverbank into a dangerous trap. Isn't that exactly how wild dogs build their reputation? A few seconds of speed may create an opportunity to survive, but the discipline of the entire pack ultimately determines the final rhythm of the pursuit. Crocodiles are known as masters of ambush along Africa's water edges. Weighing more than 1,200 pounds, their jaws can generate a bite force exceeding 2,100 pounds per square inch. Once prey steps too close to the riverbank, a place that seemed safe can instantly become a line between safety and survival. Even other predators and large prey animals remain cautious when approaching the water. Wild dogs and crocodiles rarely confront one another directly. One species controls the grassland through speed and pack discipline, while the other dominates the water through patience and ambush. But after a long hunt, when exhaustion and thirst begin to take hold, the wild dog pack is often forced to move close to this dangerous boundary. A mistake can happen in an instant. One weaker individual lowers its head too quickly to drink. Even a small ripple across the surface is enough to trigger the crocodile's ambush instinct. The crocodile surges forward and attempts to pull the target away from safety. Immediately, the entire wild dog pack reacts. They rush in, maintain formation, pull back, and refuse to abandon their packmate. After several tense seconds, the crocodile is forced to surrender the opportunity. But the lesson remains. Crocodiles can also benefit when wild dogs drive prey too close to the water during a chase. At that boundary, the courage of the wild dogs is constantly tested, and every mistake forces them to survive with greater caution. Lions are considered the rulers of the savanna, not only because of their strength, but also because of their ability to control vast territories. A pride often defends an area approaching 120 square miles, where prey, shade, and water sources are concentrated. An adult male outweighs a wild dog by a considerable margin and can create pressure through presence alone. For African wild dogs, this is challenging ground. They are smaller, yet capable of running close to 45 miles per hour and are recognized for their speed and pack discipline. The encounter begins when a wild dog pack becomes focused on pursuing prey and unintentionally crosses into lion territory. Once the intruders are detected, lionesses and male lions surge forward in short bursts of speed, forcing the pack to scatter. At first, the advantage belongs to the more powerful predator. But if one lioness becomes separated from the pride, the wild dogs quickly regroup and begin applying pressure in return. During the hot season on the savanna, even a small watering hole can influence survival when a wild dog pack controls access to a drinking spot. Lions must approach with caution if they move too close. The dogs rapidly close ranks and defend their space through collective action. On the savannah, strength may dominate a single moment, but collective discipline is what helps ensure survival through many harsh seasons. Leopards are among the most accomplished climbers of Africa's big cats. Weighing around 150 pounds, they remain agile enough to haul prey more than 25 feet into a tree to avoid competing predators. For this solitary hunter, a tree is not only a refuge, but also a secure place to store a hard-earned meal within the highly competitive savanna. The encounter begins after a silent hunt. A leopard has just dragged its prey onto a low branch when the scent of fresh food starts drifting through the wind. Downwind, a wild dog pack quickly detects the signal from several hundred yards away. They cannot match a leopard's climbing ability, but they compensate with speed, numbers, and relentless pressure. Before long, tension builds beneath the tree. Sharp calls echo through the air, forcing the leopard to remain in position above. On the ground, the pack takes control of the remaining food, while the solitary predator watches from its perch, unable to reclaim the situation. But a leopard rarely gives up without another attempt, at a different time. When food becomes scarce, it may quietly return, moving through the shadows of the grass in search of another chance at the meal it lost. If it approaches too closely, the entire pack immediately reacts, surrounds the intruder, and forces it back into the safety of the tree. Nature does not reward the most reckless hunter. It favors those able to read the situation, avoid unnecessary danger, and wait patiently for the right opportunity to return. On the cracked, sun-dried ground of the savanna, an old burrow can mark the boundary between danger and survival. For the African warthog, it remains a familiar refuge whenever a pursuit begins. Its low, sturdy body, weighing around 210 pounds, allows it to move through the grass faster than its rugged appearance suggests. Curved tusks, measuring about 12 inches in length, make any predator think twice before closing the distance. But wild dogs do not rely on direct confrontation. When they spot the target moving away from the burrow, the entire pack quickly spreads out. One group applies pressure from the front, while another keeps pace from behind, gradually forcing the warthog away from its safest route. They do not need a single decisive charge. The real threat comes from the relentless rhythm of the pursuit, leaving the prey with little time to recover. When the warthog turns to resist, the circle immediately opens. When it runs again, the pack tightens once more, rotating positions and maintaining speed over long distances. Every change of direction drains more energy and carries the prey farther from shelter. On the savanna, wild dogs continue to prove themselves as master strategists. In the end, only scattered tracks remain across the dusty grasslands. Wild dogs do not dominate through size, but through relentless teamwork. In the wild, survival is shaped by a balance of speed, discipline, and timing. If you would like to continue exploring the world of predators, be sure to like and subscribe. Beyond the distant horizon, the wild dog pack continues its endless journey.